Have you ever looked at this bespoke style urn design and wonder, what are the mechanics on this? How can I successfully create that design? So today we're going to take a look. We're going to create this in a ceramic urn in water and not use foam today. But we're going to create an internal stem grid with the stems of the floral material and foliages that we're going to be using. So essentially what you do is start from the outside kind of in with our foliages. We're going to come across with one stem and then across again with another stem going over the top of that first stem, and then kind of keep repeating that process. And what that does is create that internal stem grid with our floral materials so that it can successfully be delivered to your customers. A couple other key elements of this style design. So it's an asymmetrical style of design, which means it's not the same on one side as another. We're doing it in groupings, so that brings impact to each floral material that you see in. And then we have color balance happening between the floral materials, but different floral materials on each side, kind of giving it that asymmetrical balance. So let's take a look at this. So you can see I've gathered all the materials that we're going to be using for this urn design. So we can go ahead and get started. I have water in here with preservative in. And today one of the greens that we're going to be using is Huckleberry. It's kind of more of that richer dark color that we see coming on. So a little bit less of the gray eucalyptus and going more toward the darker greens. So we're going to come in, and you can see one coming in across that way and one this way. So down in the urn, that's what it's going to look like there. Our next green we're going to put in is Cocculus, and this is just going to be a little bit more stronger impact to the sides of this design. It's just a little bit larger leaf, and so it'll add a little bit more impact. And we are going to kind of come one from the center as well, just to create that internal grid. And so now as I'm looking down in, I have a whole system of stems that's in there that are going to be able to hold my flowers. So we'll come in and we start really with the outside first. And so we're going to come in here with some of the Delphinium. As I'm cutting, if you're a little bit less experienced, what I want you to do is pull that container kind of right to the edge of your table. And if you hold that stem down there, you can see that it's going to go down into the bottom of the water, then come back and then make that cut. And then you go in across here. Some of the side shoots, we're going to use some of those as well rather than discarding them. So, and you can feel it going in tightly into that interwoven grid of stems. I'm going to save this one till a little bit later. I am going to put it in and use it, but it's quite large, and so that'll help lock some stems in a little bit later. Our next element we're going to add in is some of the yellow snaps, and we're going to come in on the other side on those. By having that stem grid of foliage already, I also have a support element that kind of protects the floral materials from getting broken too, so that I can easily insert it and I don't end up like some of the containers have more of a sharp edge. So there you can see how we're coming from one side to the other and doing that color balance back and forth. To pull a little bit of that blue color that we see here over to the other side, I'm going to use a stem of Eryngium, and Eryngium adds that textural influence. And here we're just going to use one stem. Next, we're gonna go with another more like a filler type material. And I've got some Solidago that we're gonna pull over here. So you can see I brought blue to the yellow side. Now I'm gonna bring yellow to the blue side. And that just helps my color balance kind of going back and forth on the design. So even though the material's different, the arrangement feels balanced visually going back and forth. Our next element that we're gonna add in is some spray roses. We know people associate roses with value, and I like to use spray roses to really give that kind of more garden appeal, and it gives the customer that wants roses, it gives them multiple buds and one easy stem placement. You can see all of those stems are being put in groupings. The next floral material we're going to put in is the Pincushion protea. And this adds that tropical influence, and it kind of draws you into the design with the customer like, what is that? That's really cool. It adds a lot of texture into the design, which customers in floral design are really craving that textural element. We've got those smooth surfaces in our kitchens, the smooth surfaces on your phone. So when you come in, it really draws you in and kind of makes you want to touch it. And that's really going to add a lot of value to the design and interest. All right, now I'm just going to come in and add this stem here a little bit more toward the middle. It will help to kind of lock some of my other stems in. I've got quite the grid system going, so I kind of have to push that in. And then I'm going to add some accents. So another thing that I do is try to add a variety of long-lasting materials in with the more temperate materials that might expire faster. So normally I'll add in some carnations and some chrysanthemums to really add that long-lasting value to my customer. Here you can see I've taken some of the side shoots, and rather than put them in one at a time, kind of develop a grouping of them. And I've got the longer stem left on that I can use in my side. And this right here, I'm just going to bring down into the middle to just bring that color in and just add a little bit of brightness down below my more expensive flowers with the Pincushion protea there. Got some of there. And then this, I am gonna develop kind of a little pathway through the design, through the middle, so to reinforce my focal area and come, so I've got green, green, and then a button coming in the back here. So if you look a little bit over the top there, you are able to see that I've kind of developed a little bit of a pathway with my accent green buttons here. Laying those stems together allows you to be efficient with your stem insertions, and efficiency equals profitability. So we know that it's always good to be conscious of that. Ranunculus is something that's a little bit more expensive flower. So I've got those pincushions right down in there, and I'm just gonna have these flowers kind of dancing over the top here, right over those green buttons, just drawing a little bit of attention. I've got similar colors in through the middle, but different materials, but it really allows your eye to kind of dance through the design. And so on something like that, what I call is money on top. And so if you have some things that are a little bit more expensive, make sure and use them right up where your customers are going to be able to see them. We're going to take a little bit of the Waxflower, and on here I'm going to do a cut. Lots of times people will cut off that top and then they end up tossing this on the ground. But what I would like you to do for profitability standard is to layer these together. So I'm taking my bottom of my stem and my top of my stem. This one is good enough to just lay in by itself. So that was the middle of the stem. But so here, I'm gonna lay that tip over the base and put those two in together. And then this one in, and that'll give me more bang for my buck on that. And keeping it on that more woody stem makes it easier to insert it. So lastly, we're gonna put in some of the dill. And this kind of gives that layering. So it's gonna dance right over the top of those pincushion, kind of reinforces the shape of that, but adds that gardeny element right on top of that tropical element, just creating more texture within the design. The veiling of this material, you can still see through it, and it'll just draw you into the arrangement and create that great physical interest throughout the design. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed learning how to create that internal stem structure. It's a great way to create vase designs too, but really all you need is the stems of the flowers to create that mechanical structure that you can be successful in design. If you give this a try and have problems, put a message down in the comments so that I can help you be successful. So if you like this video, make sure and give us a thumbs up. Ask some questions, leave us some comments. That's how we know that you like it, and then we can make more of these styles of videos. I'm Sandy Schreck for LBR Educates, and I hope I inspired you to create some fabulous florals.